Greetings and salutations, Life and Poetry fam. Welcome back to the channel with your boy, your host, the one and only, Marcus T, this guy. And we are back with another Slow Walk to 30 video. Right? We're back with another video, and this video is another Slow Walk to 30 video. If you've been living under a rock, or if you're new here, you may not know what these videos are about. So let me tell you. The Slow Walk to 30 videos are videos that I release once a month, one singular video every month up until my 30th birthday. So from 29 to 30, there's been one video that's been released each month, dedicated to something that I've learned, lost, gained, picked up, put down, anything in that realm of things along the way as we slowly move to 30. Now, if you don't know, my birthday is July 1st, which is next month. So we're getting closer to that time, which means we only have, after this video, there's only one more video that's going to come out for this series. So I believe there'll be 12 videos, right? 12 months from 29 to 30. We talked about something. We range from so much. So we range from grief to protecting your peace, to understanding patience. We've covered so many things that I've learned about myself, learned along the way, different tools that I've picked up, different things that I've been dealing with, that I've dealt with, that I'm continually dealing with, such as the grief one, which is it's a heavy one that I talked about. But yeah, so we're doing this here. I'm excited to be finishing out this series here. This has been a truly therapeutic thing for me to do. And I'm excited to go back, and once these are done, to go back and reflect on all those things that as I'm continually working through things, continuing to meditate through things, continuing to pray through things. I think I've said this previously here, like each topic I pick here isn't just something I come up with off a whim. I sit with myself, I think about things, I can think about something in a moment, and it comes to me and I'll write it down, and sometimes God will give me the topic the day of, and he'll switch what I have and he'll go from there. This time I had a topic that came, I was sitting in, and I was in worship a few days ago, maybe day before yesterday. It was either yesterday or day before yesterday. I was in worship, and I was talking to God about something. But you know what? Let's pause there for just 1 second. Pause for 1 second before I get ahead of myself. I got excited, right? So I need you guys to do me a favor. Before we go any further about anything, right? Because I know you guys are on your seat. You're excited now. Before we move forward, before we dive into this here, I want you guys to do me a huge favor, right? I need you to go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Once you've done all those things there, make sure that you turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified every time we here at Life and Poetry drop in a video. And remember that we say we, that I say we, because you never know it's going to pop up in graces with their presence on the channel. Some faces will be old, some faces will be new. The only way to know that is you stay tuned and be informed and be alerted, be notified when it happens. Like I said, we have one more video after this one coming out in this series here, and it's been a journey, right? So, but I thank you guys for doing that, guys. And as I used to say, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. It's all love, no matter what, here at Life and Poetry. Remember, we're a family at Life and Poetry. We're a family here. Families have disagreements. Families don't always agree with things. Families don't always understand what's happening. And that's fine. That's okay. But we're having the conversation. We're opening that dialogue with things here. And I pray that these videos help you as they've been helping me, that you can go back and reflect on certain eras or phases of your life there, stages of your life that you're moving through. And I just pray that in anything I do, that I'm able to give you guys something of substance that you can hold on to and take it with you as you move forward in whatever you choose to do. You know, it's always my prayer. But yeah, so as I was saying, sitting with God, meditating, and I was talking to God about some things, and I had to move fast. I had to stay on the follow my thought. But I was talking to God about something, and I began to thank Him for His favor. I began to thank Him for where He's positioned me. I began to thank Him for even allowing me to get this far. You guys have seen my story. You guys have heard my story. You've seen it. If you followed me on any platform, you've seen something. You especially followed me here. The Truth Unveiled series, it really pulled back the veil to what I was been dealing with, And it's been a journey to get through those things there. And in that journey, I've made many mistakes. I've made many missteps and mishaps have happened. No regrets, but things have happened. You know, I and I think I did a video on that one too about not regretting anything, because if I didn't make that mistake, I wouldn't have learned and got to where I'm in today. That's where I stand with a lot of things. That may not be where you stand, but that's where I stand, right? But I was talking to God, and as I began to thank Him for not just His positioning for me, but also for His favor over me. And then I went a little bit further. I said, you know, God, I thank You for grace. Right? I thank You for grace, because His grace, His grace allows me to make a mistake, but in His grace, it's not used or held against me, you know. And my flesh is still human. My spirit dwells with Him, but my flesh still walks this earth. My flesh still is it's here. That's why it said that we must die daily in the flesh, so that we may be born again in the spirit, right? So as I was thanking God for that grace, I was like, man, He gives me grace, but do I give me grace, right? Do I give myself grace as I move through a lot of things? And the answer, as I was praying about it, as I was meditating, when I was reflecting, and I had to do a real deep dive. You know, there's been a lot of things that happened in my life. There's been a lot of loss. There's been a lot of turmoil, a lot of tragedy. So I had to go back and say, you know what? Do I give myself grace for feeling how I felt in this moment here? Do I give myself grace for the mistake I made here? Do I give myself grace for the misstep I had here? And the answer at the time, as I was going through it, was no. I did not allow myself grace. And I was like, it made no sense. So I went back to God. And this was yesterday. I got in the shower yesterday afternoon. And if you know me, you know when I'm in the shower, when I'm by water, it's my place of serenity, and I can slip into worship like that. It's like a stream, it's my stutter. It's like when water flows, it's a constant stream, right? And that's how I slide right into worship. So I was in my safe space, my prayer space, and I had my music going. It doesn't matter if I'm listening to gospel, rap. It doesn't matter. I want worship when I worship, how I choose to worship. It doesn't matter who's around, what environment I'm in. If I want to worship, I'm going to worship. Nothing stops that. Amen. But I was in that space, and I was on my gospel playlist there, and I was in it, and I was praying, and I was praying for myself and my situation. I was praying for my wife, and my marriage, and where we're going to, and my family, and those things around me. And I asked God one thing, right? And you guys, if you saw the video prior to this one here about my little secret, it was about my stutter, right? And so stick with me, right? So I was in that prayer space, and I asked God to make it plain, but it kept repeating in my head as if it was on a stutter track. Like it was on a loop. God, make it plain, make it plain, make it plain, right? And the thing I was asking to make it plain for, He set aside, right? I'm still waiting for that answer, because I need that answer there on that side. But He made something plain for me as I was getting dressed after I got out the shower. And He said to me, He said, you want it plain, I'll give it to you plain. He said, allow yourself grace, because you're going to make a mistake. But even in your imperfection of the mistake, you have perfection in me, right? And learning that there, after all this time from, or hearing that, it opened up so much for me, even in that split second. Sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to dwell on it, meditate on it, and see what's happening there. But I didn't want to do that, because I didn't want to go to the what if factor when it came to that. I was in the moment with God, and it was me and Him having a conversation on the side of my bed as I was getting dressed. And I was like, you know what, God, I'm going to listen to you in this moment here, and I'm not going past this here. Right? And I began to go back, and I began to talk myself through in my meditative space as I was going through, and it was interestingly so, because I began to weep on the inside, but I began to learn something, and it's so funny to me how He moves, because normally I wouldn't do this here. Normally I would sit and dwell in something, and I would pray till I can't pray no more, till my throat is dry, I'm getting hoarse, I started losing my voice. But in this moment, God said, zip it and just move into it. And learning that, you know, although it took time to learn it took time to learn that I wasn't allowing myself grace after the mistakes. And it was weird, right? 'Cause you walk with no regrets, but you don't give yourself grace. It didn't make sense. But sitting with God yesterday, it really solidified me doing this video here. I'm about to be 30 years old. I've been through death. I've been through sickness. I've been through loss. I've walked through confusion, depression, anxiety. I've walked through many stages of life in just my 20s alone. And just to walk in my 20s, but by the time I left 19 and hit 20, hell, by the time I left 17 and hit 18, it just compiled, and it was compounding so much that I had to suppress it. You know, it's funny to say press down, shake together, press down, shaking together, running over. That's how it was. I was pressing down, right? And I was trying to shake it together. So, you know, you shake it and stuff, you make space as you shake and stuff, falling into little crevices, right? But then it started to run over. But learning to give yourself a grace, for me, speaking for me, it is going to be a task, but I'm looking forward to, as I walk through these, as I'm walking into my 30s, I'm looking forward to go back and revisit those things there so that I can see what's still lingering. What am I not forgiving myself for? What am I not granting myself grace for? You know, and it's so funny. It's interestingly so that we're so quick to give everybody else grace, but we never give ourselves grace. We're so quick to ask God to give us grace, but are we truly giving ourselves grace? God has given you grace the day that He sent His Son for us, the day that He the day that He sacrificed His Son for us, the day that His Son rose up. He gave us grace, and He solidified it when Jesus rose up from the tomb. He gave us grace. He gave us favor. And it shall follow us all the days of our life, right? All the days of our life. But why don't we give ourselves grace? I didn't understand it for myself. And I feel like I'm about to preach, and I'm trying to do that in this video here, but if it happens, it happens. But I'm walking a fine line as I move to my 30s, as I start to actually put more pieces together of the puzzle and where God's positioning me to. But in that, I had to learn grace. And it took me yesterday, right? From 20 to 29, right? 30 is in what? 30 is in what? 29 days, right? 29 days in 29, I find grace, right? And grace isn't a person. It's you know, yeah. But it's interestingly so, because, like I said, these videos here are therapeutic for me. It's literally for me to open up. And I got the idea from my nephew's mom through these videos here. And I didn't think that these would be what they are. I thought they would just be something I'm sitting and talking about. It's going to get it out, just do content for you guys. And God was like, did I give you this idea to start a YouTube channel just to give content? Did I give you the idea to push social media because it's a greater platform to get your story out for just that? And no, the answer was no. It was to literally share my story and to share Him with you guys through me, you know. And so that's what happened. And in doing so, I've gained so much. I've gained so much patience. I've gained so much strength. I've gained so much knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and just self-reflection as I go through these. As I go through this walk here, as I walk this journey with you guys, and you guys only see a glimpse of what's happening through me in the day to day. Because I'm not like most YouTubers where I'm constantly recording every day. That's not what I was assigned to do. I was assigned to do a video when God told me to do it, right? And then to sprinkle my own pieces in it as we go through. But there's so much that's happening. And in order to get what I need from God, I have to grant myself grace, because as I'm walking through those new things, I'm going to fall short some way, somehow. And it's okay, because in my imperfection, there is yet perfection in Christ Jesus. And I don't know. It's just so much happening. And I can't get it out in a 15, 20-minute video. I know this series is ending, but my walk, literally, right? My walk, spiritually and physically, doesn't stop when this series stops, right? I'm constantly growing. I'm constantly learning to give myself grace because God granted me favor and grace, right? So the least I can do is give myself grace, right? I speak favor in my life every day I wake up. Every time I pray for something, I speak favor as I pray for that thing there. That God gives me something there, right? But I never ask God the way I did yesterday that grant me grace. Never have I done that. And to do it now, as I'm moving to 30, as I'm growing in my marriage with my wife, who is amazing, who is so supportive. Like I said, guys, she helped me understand my stutter, helped me work through the stutter thing. She helped me understand my strengths and helped me endure those even through my shortcomings. Right? God gave me so much favor in her that it's brighter than this ring light that's on me right now. Are you seeing my glasses? Right? It's brighter than that ring light that's on me right now. And it's just so much that I'm thankful for. It's so much that I'm grateful for. It's so much that I've already received and I'm in expectation to receive. As I also declared on yesterday, that every season I'm walking is now my season of harvest. I don't care what it is. I'm getting something from every season. It is my harvest. I planted seeds. I've sowed. I planted. I've sold. You have to till the soil. I've done all that there, right? I watered the seed, right? I nurtured it. I protected it as the seasons change, because everything ain't come in every season, right? So the thing that wasn't coming up, the thing that didn't break the surface yet, I'm still protecting it from the seasons as the elements change, and when it sprouts up, I'm going to harvest what's there, right? I just got the seed of grace, right? I'm harvesting that now, and I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm excited to see what the last video is going to be about in this series here. I'm gonna sit with God through and through with that one there as we walk through these final days here, up until 30, because like it's so much great. Like if you saw the truth unveiled, I am not supposed to be sitting here before you today. That's just the truth of the matter. I am not. I, Marcus T, this guy, am not supposed to be sitting here before you today. Yet I'm sitting here before you. I'm talking to you. You can see me, right? If you meet me in person, you can touch me, right? I'm here. I'm not just a figment of an imagination. I'm not just a shadow thing, whatever you want to call it. I'm here, sitting before you today, sharing my story with you guys, sharing parts of my life with you guys. And as I'm pulling back so much truth, right? I'm pulling back so much so that you guys can get to that truth piece of me, of things that I'm walking through. And as I walk through these things here, as always, my prayer is that you guys get something from these here. My prayer is that you can hold on to something. My prayer is that you can sit in your prayer space and meditate with God as he downloads into you. And as he's doing so, make sure you remember these things. Make sure you remember Control, Alt, Delete, Recycle Bin, empty recycle bin, right? Right. You cancel out those programs that's running in the background, right? You go to your recycle bin, you empty it. So now you're opening up more space so God can settle in those spaces that he needs to settle in. If you need grace, pray for it. If you need favor, pray for it, right? But not only pray for it, right? Know that's going to come to pass because you open your mouth. God said, ask and you shall receive, knock and the door shall be open. And that's what his word promised us, right? I asked for favor, I got it. I just asked for grace and I got that. I got that in the moment I asked for it. He said, you know what, it's yours. I release it to you. My God. It's amazing, guys. I'm excited. I'm elated. I'm looking forward to what's next. I cannot wait. And I pray that you guys stick around through the journey. But yeah, guys, so grace. I'm learning about that now. I'm picking it up. I'm setting down lack of, and I'm picking up more of, right? I'm setting down lack of, and I'm picking up more of. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Life and Poetry fam, I thank you guys so much. I pray you guys actually made it to the end of this video here. I know I said I'm going to start saying it at the beginning of the videos, because I really don't think you guys watch all the entire video, but if you do, I appreciate you so much. And drop a comment down below. Let me know you watched the whole video. If you didn't make it to this far, that's fine as well. It's still all love. No matter what, it's love. It's love and understanding, right? As we grant each other grace, as we grant each other grace, as we grant each other grace. Again, I love you guys so much. I thank you guys for rocking with me and allowing me to rock with y'all for this long. Help me continue to grow the channel. We are almost at 300 subscribers, 300 family members. Let's get there. Let's keep growing. Let's keep spreading the word. Let's keep loving on each other. Let's keep loving on each other. Let's keep loving on each other. Let's keep supporting each other no matter what. Let's support each other. And let's sow into each other. Let's sow into each other. Let's sow into each other. But guys, I love you guys so much. Thank you again. Don't forget to like, comment, share. Forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Notification bell is on. And just do something on today. I dare you on today to do something that puts a smile on your face. Bigger and better than yesterday. Brighter than the past as you illuminate your future, which is your tomorrow. And just love on yourself. But I'm going to go, because I'm just going to sit with God for a little bit right now. But I love you guys so much. And as always, stay safe, be blessed, and until next time, we out. Peace.